Shalom, shalom. This is Officer Ricard Ariel, straight out of Boston. Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Barak Athah to all my brothers. Yahweh Shema Alatha Hashem, Yahweh Shai to all my sisters. This is the Israelite School of Universal and Practical Knowledge, straight out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commanding General Yohana. I'm your host today. I'm Priest and Officer of 500 Ricard Ariel, straight out of Boston. We're going to get into a very sensitive subject for the Christians. We're going to talk about the true spirit of Christmas. We're going to talk about the true spirit behind the holiday that they love, cherish so dearly to their heart. You know what I'm saying? That they try to claim has so many. Officer Ricard Ariel, straight out of so dear. My bad. I got to get my share on. But they claim this holiday is so dear unto them. You know what I'm saying? But it's not. It's not. But we're going to get into it. So bear with me a sec as I get my share on. You know what I'm saying? Sharing this is important. I advise for y'all to share it along. Share it too. Share it also. You know what I'm saying? Tag people. Do whatever you got to do because this word needs to get out. This word needs to get out, especially on this holiday. We're going to get into it a bit. All right? But bear with me as I share. Bear with me. Bear with me. All right, I'll share more after class. All right, let's get with it. Let's get with it. No, hold on. Let me tag somebody else. Can't tag that, General. I don't know what's going on. Put like this, we all know who the devil is. But let's get into it. If you got any questions, you know what I'm saying, just tag on in. I mean, write all your questions. You know what I'm saying? We're going to get into it a bit. Whatever questions you have, just type them on in. And we're going to get your answers. You know what I'm saying? But today we're going to talk about the true spirit of Christmas, the true spirit behind this day that the church loves and cherishes so much. You know what I'm saying? We're going to get into it a bit. But I'm going to need y'all to answer me this. What reason do the Christians like to say they literally have to celebrate the holiday? What excuse do they like to give? I'm going to give y'all a second. Type it on there if you got it. And I'm going to type in the first verse we're going to get into on the true spirit behind this hellish holiday. First, I'm going to teach y'all why we shouldn't be celebrating it. Then I'm going to go into the actual history of its origins. Then I'm going to go into the spirit of it. So, if you're there, if you got any questions, type them on in. Type them on in. Oh, this sister Yolanda Jackson says that the Christians like to say because Jesus was born. That's what they like to say. But even our enemies knows that's false. I'm going to get into some of that too. I'm going to get into some of that, how our enemies think that that's false too. Not think, they know it's false. They know it's false. But I'm going to start off with Amos 5:21. If you're there, read along with me. Bear with me a second as I get there with you. All right, I'm there. If you're there, read along with me. All right, read along with me. Amos chapter 5, verse 21. I hate and I despise your feast days. I don't know how it could get any clearer. The scripture says he hates and he despises our feast days. Why does he hate and despise our feast days? Let me tell you something. It's not his feast days. It's not his feast days. You know what I'm saying? And throughout the scriptures, actually, throughout the scriptures, the Lord tells us what are our feast days. If you go to Leviticus 23, you know what I'm saying? I believe it's Leviticus 23, where he describes literally our feast days, such as the Passover, such as the Feast of Unleavened Bread, such as the Feast of Tabernacles, the Day of Atonement. Those are our solemn and holy days. Those are the days we are supposed to be celebrating as Black and Hispanic people. Those are the days that we are supposed to hold dear to ourselves. We're not supposed to be holding Christmas as if it's special. Nothing special about Christmas. That's not nothing of our people. That's nothing that glorifies Black and Hispanic people. That's not at all. It glorifies only our enemies. It helps their pockets grow fat. It helps them get out the red and into the black. You know what I'm saying? If you understand business terms, that's all it's really for. That's all it's really for. And its origins are very, very ugly. The origins of Christmas are ugly, and I'm going to get into that. You know what I'm saying? But let me read this from the top again, and I'm going to finish it off. Amos chapter 5, verse 21. I despise your feast days. I will not smell in your solemn assemblies. The Most High don't even enjoy the smell of our solemn assemblies. What's a solemn assembly? A solemn assembly is a formal assembly. It's something that's customary. You know what I'm saying? You make all special. You get dressed up for it. You try to look extra fly about. You know what I'm saying? That's your Easters. That's your Christmas. That's your Thanksgiving. That's the things. That's your 4th of July's. That's your Labor Days. Your Juneteenths and all that. That's what that's about. You know what I'm saying? Salaki, bear with me. That's what that's about. That's not about nothing else. You know what I'm saying? But he don't even enjoy the smell of us joining together. Like, y'all join together for Thanksgiving. That's supposed to be a beautiful day in the average Black, Hispanic, and Native man's eyes. Well, not natives. Natives hate it. But according to the average Black and Hispanic, Thanksgiving is supposed to be beautiful. It's a time to thank God for what you have. But the Most High don't enjoy the smell of that cooking. The Most High don't enjoy the smell of that turkey. Don't enjoy the smell of that ham. Don't enjoy the smell of that cranberry sauce, that stuffing. Know why? Because that day actually is rooted in the slaughter of Native American people. Rooted in the slaughter of actually his so-called Hispanic people too. The Arawaks and the Tainos, they died for the glory of Thanksgiving too. You know what I'm saying? That's what that day is actually about. And the Most High don't enjoy us celebrating it. The Most High don't have glory in us enjoying such days. You know what I'm saying? Slocky, bear with me one sec. All right, I solved that. You know what I'm saying? The Most High don't enjoy that. You know what I'm saying? It is ugly. It's ugly. We're going to go to Like I keep on forgetting that this joint got hotkeys. Just can't type away. Just can't type away. You gotta make sure you're in the cursor. Put the next scripture in. Jeremiah 10:2. Jeremiah 10, chapter 2. Now, this is what y'all need to understand. The spirit of Christmas is actually old. It's about as old as can be. Oh, yeah. And if you're in class, to put your name in the city that you're from so it could get counted. So your class, so you get your attendance could be recognized and you could be accounted for. But this is what you need to understand. The spirit of Christmas is actually older than slavery. Well, the transatlantic slavery. Spirit of Christmas could go as far back as Babylonian times. The spirit of Christmas is old as lying itself. Because the bottom line is that's truly the spirit of Christmas is lying. That's what it's all about. It's literally about lying. You know what I'm saying? But the spirit of Christmas could be dated as back as the Babylonian times, the Celtic festival of Saturnalia. That's where a lot of its customs come from. Only one custom comes from the Babylonian traditions. Only one. Only one custom. Christmas is actually from the Celtic celebration of Saturnalia. And we're going to get into it. In fact, let's start off with this verse, Jeremiah 10:2. You know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, I'm going to start off with 1 so everybody can understand the context. Because everybody like to say we like to jump verse for verse, you know what I'm saying? And whatever other big words they like to use, but no. We're strictly about these scriptures and we are direct. But let's start with Jeremiah 10:1. Hear ye the word which the Lord, Salakia, let me bring it back. Hear ye the word which Yahweh, when you see the Lord with all capital letters, transfer it to the word Yahweh, which is the Most High's actual name in Hebrew. You know what I'm saying? Yahweh. Hear ye the word which Yahweh speaketh unto you, O house of Israel. This is the word that God is speaking to Black Hispanics and natives. He wants Black Hispanics and natives to listen to this carefully. Have an open ear to it. It's important. It's important enough that the Most High is telling us this. You know what I'm saying? He could have kept it to himself, but no, he's telling us this for a reason. You know what I'm saying? Because our people are easy to believe anything. We are quite a gullible people. That's why we call the lost sheep. Sheep are very gullible. Sheep are easy to be led astray. So he is telling us to listen to, and that's all we got to do is listen to the Most High. But let's get into it. Verse 2. Thus saith Yahweh, learn not the way of the heathen. Learn not the way of the heathen. This is one of the biggest problems we have in the Black, Hispanic, and Native communities. Some of the biggest problems we have is that we like to learn the ways of the heathen. And let me remind you, if you got any question or any comment, just type it on in. If you want to, you know what I'm saying, I'll see it. But one of our biggest problems is that we like to follow the way of the heathen. For example, you know why King Saul, King David, King Solomon, and so forth and so on existed? You know why that even existed for Israel, Black, Hispanic, and Native people to have kings? That existed because the simple fact is we wanted to be like other nations. We wanted to be just like them. That's how old us want to be like other nations are. And it holds true today. No other nation wants to be like any other nation. even though our oppressor, you know what I'm saying, Caucasians are literally forcibly trying to force every nation on this planet to follow its customs. Other nations still hold true to a lot of their customs, except for Black, Hispanic, and natives. Africans still hold on to a lot of their customs. East Indians still hold on to a lot of their customs. You know what I'm saying? Asians hold on to a lot of their customs. Polynesians, like Hawaiians and Samoans, they still hold on to a lot of their customs. But us Black, Hispanics, and natives don't. So the Lord's telling us, even if we ain't got no custom, we still ain't going to follow this. We should not be following the ways of the heathen. And what are the ways of the heathen? What are the ways of the heathen? If you're in class right now, let me see you type in some of the ways of the heathen. Let's get into it. What are some of the ways of the heathen? I'll give y'all a moment to type it in. It should be easy. Not don't just give me some of the ways of the heathen. Give me some of the ways of the heathen that us as Black, Hispanics, and natives actually do follow. I know there's a delay in this, so I'm going to give y'all about 20 more seconds. You know what I'm saying? Because it's important for us to recognize that a lot of the things that we do is not of us. We are cultural vulture and cultural vultures. You know what I'm saying? A lot of the ways that they practice ain't even their ways, but we still following somebody else's. We still chasing after their tail. You know what I'm saying? But let's get into it. You know what I'm saying? For the sake of time. Drug use. Getting high. That is their culture. Sexual immorality. That means, that's a very big part of Christmas, believe me. Sexual immorality, from homosexuality, orgies, you know what I'm saying, which is homosexuality, pedophilia, which is homosexuality, bestiality, which is homosexuality. A lot of that sexual immorality is their customs. It's not something that we do. Let's go into what else is part of their customs. Christmas, these holidays that we celebrate, you know what I'm saying? Those are some of their customs. And this is just like, that's not even the tip of the spear of what we're talking about here. You know what I'm saying? The glory of the glory of money. You know what I'm saying? The drive to be just filthy rich, and so rich that is you don't even help anybody else. All you do is have the greed of money. Yeah, that's the best way to put it. The greed of money. The greed of money is their custom. That's not ours. We as Black, Hispanic, and natives come from a custom of helping each other out. That's our customs. If you own a vineyard, you know what I'm saying, and some Black, Hispanic, and natives just see some grapes and they see, it's at the edge, they're walking down the sidewalk and your vineyard's hitting the sidewalk and they see some grapes hit the ground or whatever, and they eat it, there was no punishment for that. Go to Jersey or go to a place that makes grapes heavy, California, Florida, whatever, and eat some of that fruit that's just growing. It's actually jail time. You know what I'm saying? But our customs is selfless. Their customs is selfish. And we're going to get into that a bit. You know what I'm saying? But let's continue. And be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them. Don't be amazed about the signs of heaven. Don't be glorified and shocked at the things that happen up in the sky. That's what they do. That's when back in the day when a eclipse happened, the earth is about to explode in their eyes. Just had an eclipse. The whole world stopped because of an eclipse. You know what I'm saying? But let's get into it. For the customs of the people are vain. There is no point, no purpose, no benefit to their customs that we love and follow so much. Look at it. You are rushing, spending every last penny you got to follow their custom of Christmas. You are doing everything in your power to make sure your kids have a good Christmas. The truth is, your kids only celebrate Christmas because you do. If you didn't celebrate Christmas, your kids wouldn't know nothing about it. But they are celebrating it because you do. And you are going out there, you are giving your last, giving it your all. You are buying everything that your kids want. You are taking loans. You are probably selling your body. You are doing whatever immoral thing you can, robbing, selling drugs, selling your food stamps. That's food for your kids' mouths. And you selling that. You doing whatever it takes. You would rather have your kids be without food than have a bad Christmas. That's the truth of the matter. That's the truth of the matter. You know what I'm saying? You'd rather have your kids have a empty refrigerator than have a bad Christmas. So you go out there, you sell your tail to make sure he gets the PS5. That's what you're doing. You're selling your tail to make sure he gets the newest Jordans, get the freshest gear. You know what I'm saying? You're selling your tail so your daughter can get all pretty and stuff and get all the things she wants. You're trying to get your daughter a Birkin bag. She only like 12. She don't even know what a Birkin is. And that's a glorious thing, actually. Nobody of Black, Hispanic, and natives should actually care what a Birkin is because we ain't benefiting from it. But you want to go out there and do all this evil and wickedness to satisfy some children about Christmas. You know what I'm saying? But let me tell you something. Christmas been around forever. It's been around for a long time. You don't believe me? Let me continue. For one cutteth a tree out of the forest, the work of the hands of the workman with an axe. So you got this man with an axe. He cuts down a tree. Bang, 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 bang. Now, what do you expect a lumberjack to do with the trees he cut down? What do you naturally expect for a man to do when he cuts down a tree? You expect him to make furniture, wood to build houses and other structure. You expect him to use it for fire, use it for cooking. You expect him to use it for a whole bunch of things. You expect him to use it for a lot of stuff. But it makes no sense what this workman's doing. It's absolutely retarded. It's stupid. It's vain. It's pointless. But let's get into it. Verse 4, they deck it with silver and with gold. Oh, man. So my man cuts down the tree and they making the tree look pretty with the silver and gold. You know what I'm saying? That's that song y'all Christians love so much. They are decking the Christmas tree up. They're making the Christmas tree look fly. Understandable. Black and Hispanics and natives make things look fine. That's what we do. We only use gold to make us look good. We don't even use gold. Wasn't even a major thing for us. It was usually something that made us look good. That's what we used it for. We put it on our teeth. You know what I'm saying? We made jewelry out of it. It's something to make us look good. But they want the tree to look good. So they decking the tree with the silver and gold. The tree got to look good. What's the purpose of a tree looking good? I don't know. But let's get into it. With nails and with hammers, oh Salakia, they fasten it with nails and with hammers that it move not. So they take the bottom of the tree, they fasten it with nails and with hammer. They're making sure that tree don't move. They're making sure that tree don't move. What you think? Like there was, when I was growing up, there was like a metal pot with little 3 legs to fasten the tree down to the floor. It had like 3 legs. Some of them had 4. And you put the tree in, you screw these screws into the tree, into the trunk of the tree. And you was able to pour water into a pan. I don't even know if you can do that no more. I think they just let the tree die. But you're able to pour water into the pan and help the tree, at least maintain a little bit of its scent and everything. And that's the same thing as hammering it down to the floor or to back in the old English time, they used to make 2 wood planks and hammer that into it so it had a flatter base. So, a wider and flatter base for the tree to stand. And I don't know about y'all, but that awfully sounds like a Christmas tree. They're making the Christmas tree look fly, putting that silver and gold on it. Because I don't know about y'all, but when I was growing up, those little tinsels only came in 2 colors. Those little strings, I don't know what they were made out of, plastic, vinyl, whatever they were made out of. Those little strings were made out of, they only came in 2 colors, silver and gold. I never seen them in any other color. Not saying that they're not, I'm just saying I never seen them. But the purpose of it is for you to know that we are out there trying to make the tree look extra good, extra special. And we shouldn't. But let's get into it. Verse 5. They are upright as the palm tree. They are standing upright, straight, and strong as the palm tree. But speak not, man. These trees can't speak. So why you treating them? Why you want them to look so good? They can't even speak. They can't even say thank you for making me look fly. The tree can't thank you for making it look fly. They must needs be born because they cannot go, man. They ain't born. They ain't like us. They ain't your children. Why you want it to look fly? It can't go nowhere. It's a tree. You could have just stuck it in a corner somewhere. And trees don't belong in a house, period. What you putting a tree in your house for? Trees don't belong in no house. You putting a tree in a house, man. That tree ain't born. That tree don't, you giving the tree its own little room and its own little space. You know why? Because you want to worship that tree. Just like the Babylonians did. If you research the history of the Babylonians, they did the same thing. In fact, this is an account. The Babylonians would deck a tree, make it look fly. Because the Babylonians believed that Nimrod, spirit, is in the evergreen tree. Nimrod's spirit is in the pines and all the other evergreen trees out there. You know what I'm saying? And his mother would cut off the heads of his enemies and stick it right on top of the tree. Just plant the head right on top. But y'all want to celebrate it. Y'all want to enjoy the day of your enemies. You know what I'm saying? But let's get into the history of it. Let's get into some articles real quick. All right, let me scroll this up to the top. So you get, this is the Irish Times. So this ain't no pro-black conspiracy stuff. This is stuff from their people. This is their work. This is their article. This is their way of thinking. Let's get into it. Christmas, Yuletide, Saturnalia, or Midwinter. A list of festivals with links to our Celtic and pagan past. So they take pride in it. They want you to know it comes from their Irish ancestry. It comes from their Celtic ancestry. They want you to recognize that you're celebrating them. That's what you're doing. Every Christmas, you're celebrating them. Well, let's get into it. It's written on Saturday, December 19, 2015. Christmas, that wonderful time of year, is almost upon us. But beyond the presents, toy shows, festive music, and that festive music is some hypnotizing evil stuff. That festive music just, it catches you. It's witchcraft. Jumpers and dinners. Is there more to this celebratory season than meets the eye? Is there more to it? Yeah, there is. But let's get with it. While the celebration of Christmas is held in commemoration of the birth of Yahushua, who y'all ignorantly call Jesus, show some of the customs associated with the seasons date back to pre-Christian times. So y'all may believe it's about the birth of Christ. That's what some of y'all may believe, like the sister pointed out earlier. You may believe it's about the birth of Christ. How? When some of his customs come way before Christ was even born. Christmas tree is way before Christ was even born. You know what I'm saying? But let's get with it. Many people find these ancient festivals and rituals fascinating. Many people do. But most of us know little about them. Halloween is another such example. That's true. Us worshiping them it goes to Halloween. We start praising them around the time of September. About the time of October. You know what I'm saying? Empathizing. Our so-called Caucasian worship every year starts about October. And not many know that Halloween is thought to have begun in County Meath, for example. Halloween, Christmas, St. Stephen's Day all owe their heritage to older customs and practices. Here are but a few. A lot of the American holidays are rooted in Celtic pagan rituals, pagan customs altogether. Not all, some of them are not Celtic, but some of them are, they're all pagan. All of those customs are pagan. We know it is Salakia. We know it as the time of the birth of Yahushua, but in reality, the date of his birth remains unknown. See, they're telling you, nobody knows. This is their paper. Nobody knows when Christ is born. Nobody knows. Y'all just celebrating it on the 25th because your enemy, your oppressor, told you to celebrate his birthday on the 25th. And let me tell you something. Celebrating birthdays is something Christ never did. Christ never celebrated his birthday. You know why? It's not an Israelite custom to celebrate birthdays at all. You celebrating your birthday is literally their culture. It's you following the ways of the heathen. I think there's only 2 accounts of birthday celebrations in the Bible. One of them's Egyptian, and I believe the other one's Roman or Greek or something. Only 2 accounts of it. You will not find an account of an Israelite celebrating his birthday in the scriptures, let alone Christ. So let's get with it. Christmas owes its roots to the ancient Roman holiday of Saturnalia, which was a pagan festival which was celebrated from December 17th to the 25th. That's literally 8 days. 8 days of celebration. Each year, the custom was altered and let me read that back. Let me bring that back. Which was celebrated from December 25th, from December 17th to the 25th each year. 25th, wow. That's a magic number, ain't it? Ain't that the day that Christmas is held? So the final, like if you know anything about the last day of a festival, the last day of any celebration, that is the big finale. That is the biggest time. That's the best time to go. So this Christmas is celebrated on the last day of Saturnalia. Interesting. This custom was altered and absorbed into Christmas. It was altered and absorbed into Christmas, which means ultimately it was altered and absorbed into Christianity. It was altered and absorbed into Christianity because that's all Christianity is. Christianity is absorbent of other people's customs. It's absorbent of other people's ways of life. You know what I'm saying? And you follow it blindly thinking that you're doing something righteous and you're not. The Christian pastor's lying to you about it. The Christian pastor most likely knows that it is a celebration of Saturnalia. He most likely knows that verse in Jeremiah, not to follow the way of the heathen. He most likely knows that verse in Amos, that the Most High he hates and despises our feast days. He knows those things. But your Christian pastor will continue to lie to you. You know why? Christian church, that's when people are the most giving. That's when that giving spirit, because of those festive songs and stuff, they are most likely to give abundantly to the Christian church. See, the Christian church is making billions of dollars. The Christian church is making more money than Amazon. Jeff Bezos is a poor man compared to the Christian church. No, let me take that back. Compared to the black Christian church. You know, that back section that, was up in the Raptors. Those dudes are making more than Jeff Bezos. But let's continue. And this allowed early Christians to gradually erase these old pagan holidays. Like, they put a Christian spin on it. All you got to do is put Christ on it. That's what Christians do nowadays anyway. Even to this day, Christians just put Christ on it, and it's supposed to be a righteous thing. You eating pork, crab, shrimp, and lobster, you pray over it in Christ's name, it's a righteous thing. You celebrating a pagan holiday, you put Christ's name on it, it's a righteous thing. You know what I'm saying? In the name of Jesus, he molested those little kids. In the name of Jesus, he's sleeping with your woman. Christianity is disgusting. It is absolutely disgusting, and it's full of lies and deceit, full of evil spirits in such a day. You know what I'm saying? But let's continue with it. Some say Christmas trees' origins come from Saturnalia, as Romans would hack down trees and bring them into their homes. Like if you read Jeremiah, we already described the Christmas tree in the Bible in Jeremiah. Jeremiah is way before the Romans were even on the scene. Jeremiah is quite away from the Greeks being on the scene. So no Romans on the scene. So this is not a Roman custom. It literally dates back to Babylonian times. But let's get with it. Hack down trees and bring them into their homes during this festival. Others track the tree back to pre-Christian times when people brought trees and evergreen branches indoors to mark the arrival of midwinter. Yule was observed by Germanic people, another pagan culture, Germanic, and marked the winter solstice in the northern hemisphere today. Literally, the winter solstice is on the 25th of, so you celebrate Saturnalia, the winter solstice, Babylonian culture, like it's crazy. Yuletide refers to the Christmas period though it is still observed by some modern day pagans. Yeah, pagans do actually still exist. Pagan is not a derogatory term. Pagan just means somebody who's not following Israelite customs. But let's get with it. Let me scroll down even further. Umbolic. It is believed that our ancestors, the ancient Irish, had 4 major festivals as well as a number of smaller festivals. Christian missionaries Christianized many of these pagan festivals, and so many of our modern festivals have ancient counterparts, unbeknownst to many of us. Imbolc symbolizes the start of spring. Yeah, that's one. But that's pretty much it on this. Samhain is for Halloween. That's pretty much the end of that one. Oh, Salakia, let me turn that off. But some of the things that they used to do in the Saturnalia, we're going to get into. You know what I'm saying? We're going to go into another article that goes into Saturnalia a little more deeply. That shows you it's more than just Christians stealing from pagan culture. It actually gets more disgusting. You know what I'm saying? But let me show it to you. This is in the Britannica, the Encyclopedia Britannica online. You know what I'm saying? Saturnalia, Roman festival. This is where Christmas comes from. Saturnalia, the most popular of Roman festivals, dedicated to the Roman god Saturn, who is also why Saturday is named what it is. You know, Saturn was a very popular god amongst the Romans. The festival influence continues to be felt throughout the Western world. Wow. The Western world, aka America, still feels. Originally celebrated on the 17th through the 25th, like we read in the last article, Saturnalia was extended first to 3 and eventually to 7 days. The date has been connected with the winter sowing season, aka the winter solstice, which in modern Italy varies from October to January. Remember, like the Greek Chronia. So Saturn is a variant of the Greek god Chronia, which is the Greeks' god of time. Saturn is very similar to that Greek god. It was the liveliest festival of the year. All work and business was suspended. No different from today. Everybody gets Christmas off. I wanted to work Christmas, but nah. Everybody get Christmas off. You know what I'm saying? What's the post office's saying? The U.S. Postal Service saying it's the rain, sleet, or snow or something like that. But guess what? They ain't coming on Christmas. Not on Christmas. The mail service stops on Christmas. But let's continue. All the work and business was suspended. Slaves were given temporary freedom to say and do what they like. No different. Y'all got a day off. Y'all could do what they want. Y'all could do what y'all like. Go ahead. Slaves were able to run amok. They did everything but run free. But we're going to get into it. We're going to get into it. And certain moral restrictions were eased. They eased the punishments of a lot of moral restrictions, which a lot of these moral restrictions were sexual. And a lot of these sexual restrictions were eased. There was less restrictions. And so a lot of women were raped during Saturnalia. No different from today. People have these Christmas parties, these office Christmas parties, getting all types of drunk and everything. And next thing you know, a woman's waking up with her panties off and don't know what happened. Sperm just dripping down her leg as she walks up. She knows somebody had sex with her. But it's a part of the Christmas spirit. This rape is a part of the Christmas spirit. Lying is a part of the Christmas spirit. Pagan culture is a part of the Christmas spirit. Immoral acts is part of the Christmas spirit. That is the true Christmas spirit. That is what you celebrate with your family every year. So you get mad at that uncle that touched the little kids in the family, but he's just practicing the Christmas spirit. Why are you mad at him? Why are you mad at that uncle that's practicing the Christmas spirit? Let me tell you why. Because you know it's wrong. And if you know those sexual moral acts are wrong, you should know that Christmas is wrong. Christmas is wrong because those sexual immoral acts is embedded into the culture of Christmas. It's all a part of Christmas. You can't have Christmas without the immoral acts. What else is an immoral act on Christmas? That holiday ham that you got on the table. That's an immoral act. What is immorality? Immorality is anything that goes against the words of God. That's immorality. But let's continue. The streets were infected with the Mardi Gras madness. Oh yeah, Mardi Gras. Oh, y'all love that festival. Mardi Gras. Mardi Gras. Y'all love that. But that's a Roman festival too. That's a Roman festival too. But y'all love that also. Y'all think it's some African stuff. No, it's not. Let me tell you something. Those Africans back in the day were just having a party with masks on because they wear masks for everything for some reason. But nah, the Mardi Gras, the party with the mask and dressing half naked purposely, the sexual immorality, the mudslinging, that all dates back to Roman culture. But that's for another time. A mock king was chosen, Saturnalicus princeps. The seasonal greetings of Saturnalia was heard everywhere. The closing days of the Saturnalia were known as Sigillaria, which is the Christmas day. Remember, it's like 7-8 days. The 25th was the end of it. They talking about this day. Because of the custom of making toward the end of the festival presents of candles, wax models of fruits, waxen statuettes, which were fashioned by the sigillari, or manufacturers of small figures in wax and other media. The cult statue of Saturn himself, traditionally bound at the feet with woolen bands was untied, presumably to come out and join the fun. So basically, toys, the giving of toys and the candles and all that's all dates back to then. That all dates back to then. You know what I'm saying? The influence of Saturnalia upon the celebration of Christmas and the New Year has been direct. The fact that Christmas was celebrated on the birthday of the unconquered sun, Dies Solis Invicti Nati, gave the season a solar background. So now it's the worship of the sun too. Now it's the worship of the sun. You see how many sins is wrapped up into this one holiday of Christmas? The worship of false gods, breaking dietary laws, you know what I'm saying? Immoral acts, following other people's culture. Just piling up with this day. The true spirit of Christmas is just plain and simply against God. That's the best way to describe it. The spirit of Christmas is just against God. But let's continue. Connected with the calends of January, when houses were decorated with greenery and lights. Oh, man. The houses were decorated with greenery and lights. They were putting all types of, what they call those things? Those rings with wreaths. They were putting all types of wreaths up. You know what I'm saying? Hold on, let me continue reading it. Greenery and lights and presents were given to the children and the poor. And presents were given to the children and the poor. So, all right, let me break this down a little slower for you. This Saturnalia predates Christianity. That means it predates Santa. It predates Saint Nick, who Santa is a false image of. Saint Nicholas was a black man who was giving out gifts randomly, just giving out gifts to children. It wasn't on the 25th of December every year. He just giving out gifts, giving out toys, giving out candy. He just, like Old Dirty would say, Saint Nick loved the kids. You know what I'm saying? He just giving out gifts. But giving out gifts on the 25th of December, that goes back to pagan rituals. That goes back to worshiping the sun. That goes back to Saturnalia. You know what I'm saying? But let's continue. Concerning the gifts, candles, the Romans had a story that an old prophecy bade the earliest inhabitants of Latium send heads to Hades and Phota to Saturn. The ancient Latins, which is not Hispanic people, understand the ancient Latins are not Hispanic. The ancient Latins are not the people like the Mexicans. It's not the Guatemalans, the Ecuadorians. It's not the Puerto Ricans, the Dominicans. No, those ain't the ancient Latins. The ancient Latins are the Greeks. The ancient Latins are the Romans. You know what I'm saying? Those are the ancient Latins. That's where the Latin language originated from them. Interpreted this to mean human sacrifices. But according to legend, Hercules advising using means lights or man according to ancient and not human heads. So basically, they mistook some things and they were killing people and sacrificing them. That's what you're celebrating. You're celebrating the sacrifice of fellow humans. Congratulations. Congratulations. Ain't that beautiful? That's the true spirit of Christmas. That is the root to Christmas. That's what Christmas is all about. You know what I'm saying? That's what Christmas is fully all about. But let's get with it. Facebook. No, let me put this on up. All right, let's get back to the scriptures. Let's get to Matthew 15 and 9. Get to Matthew 15 and 9. Did I write that right? Yeah, I did. All right, Matthew. Give y'all a second to get there. 15 verse 9. But in vain do they worship me. See, you think that you worshiping the Most High. You think that you're worshiping Christ, because these are Christ's words. Christ is saying, but in vain they do worship me. Is this what you think that you're doing ain't really nothing in Christ. You think that you're celebrating his birthday, he don't care. It's in vain. It's pointless. He don't recognize it. So let me read that from the top again. Matthew chapter 15, verse 9. But in vain they do worship me, teaching for doctrines the commandment of men. Who told you that you got to celebrate Christmas? It wasn't Christ. You cannot find it in the scriptures. Who told you he was born on the 25th of December? It wasn't Christ. You cannot find that in the scriptures. Who told you it's okay to eat pork, crab, shrimp, and lobster in celebration of Christ's birthday? It wasn't Christ. You can't find that in the scriptures. You know what I'm saying? So in vain you worship him. In vain you are following Christ, because you're not really following him. You're following man. You're following man. Let me read that from the top again. But in vain they do worship me, teaching for doctrines the commandments of men. Christmas is a man-made celebration. Christmas has nothing to do with Christ, nothing to do with God, nothing to do with us as a people. It has to do with our enemy. It has to do with our enemy. It has nothing to do with us. You know what I'm saying? Nothing at all. But let's continue. Mark 7 and 9. I'm going to try to go through these scriptures a little quicker, because I only got like about an hour left. Should I go up? Yeah, we're going to start up a little higher. Let's start at verse 5. Let's start at verse 5. You can start up earlier, but I just want to put in the whole context of it. Start at verse 5, all right? Mark chapter 7, verse 5. Then the Pharisee and scribes asked him. Pharisees and scribes, if you know the history of the Pharisees and the scribes, they made attempts to try to trip up Christ on his teachings so they could kill him. That's what their whole purpose was, to kill Christ. But they didn't have no proof. They didn't have no evidence. So they used to just come up to him, ask him a whole bunch of questions, and they think they were slick about it. They thought they were wise about it, try to trip him up. But no, nobody wiser than Christ, not even King Solomon. But let's get with it. Then the Pharisees and scribes asked him, why walk not thy disciples according to the tradition of the elders. So they asking Christ, why ain't you, doing what the elders did? Why ain't you doing the same thing that the elders did? Wash your hands before you weigh, and you know what I'm saying, the stuff, the traditions of our elders, not the law. The law is different from the traditions, but the things that we did traditionally. Why ain't y'all walking like that? But eat bread with unwashed hands, because Christ and the disciples, they were moving. They want to move. They didn't have time to wash their hands. What, they supposed to starve till they came across some water to wash their hands? You got to remember the times and where they were at. Water wasn't everywhere. There wasn't a water fountain and a faucet everywhere now. But let's continue. Verse 6. He answered and said unto them, well, hath Esaias prophesied of you hypocrites? Their existence has been prophesied. The existence of your pastor and your deacon and your mama has been prophesied, because they are all following to the tradition of men. And y'all look at us in the UPK like we crazy because we don't celebrate Christmas. They look at us like we're some type of evil beings because we don't celebrate Christmas. No different from them back then. Why ain't you following the tradition of men? Because Christmas is a tradition of man. It's not a tradition of God. It's not a high holy day. It's a tradition of man. It's a tradition of paganism. But let's get with it. This people honoreth me with their lips, but their heart is far from me. Y'all honoring Christ with your lips. Y'all say this is the birth of Christ. Oh, my Jesus, little baby Jesus was born on this day. Y'all doing it all for Christ. It's about Jesus. Y'all going to church on that day. Y'all praying before the meal. Y'all honoring Christ with y'all lips. I love Jesus. Jesus knows my heart. But look, your heart is far from him. Far from him. Your heart is nowhere near him. You're celebrating a pagan holiday talking about Jesus. Far from him. Let's continue. Howbeit in vain do they worship me, teaching for doctrines the commandments of men. Your pastor is out there teaching doctrines of Christmas, which is a doctrine of men. Who taught your pastor that Christ was born on the 25th? Because I guarantee you, it wasn't the Bible. So who taught your pastor that? Let me tell you who taught your pastor that. The person that taught your pastor that Christmas was the 25th, and that was Jesus' birthday, was our oppressor. It was our enemy. That's the person that taught you that Christmas was on the 25th. So, like I tell everybody, every problem on this planet can be traced back to our enemy, because he is the devil that the Bible speaks of. He's full of lies. So this man is teaching you the tradition of not just any man, but our enemy. Our enemy. But let's continue. Verse 8, for laying aside the commandments of God, because the commandment of God just told you, don't follow the ways of the heathen. Don't do what the heathens are doing. The commandments of God just said that, but you still want to celebrate Christmas. You still want to celebrate Christmas. When the scriptures of God, I just put to the side. It's for the children. It's for the babies, right? That's why y'all do it. It's for the babies. What else could it be for but for the babies? Let's continue. Ye hold the traditions of men. That's what you do. You rather hold on to the tradition of men. You hold that so dear to your heart. It's tradition. Your grandmother's telling you that you got to come over to her house on the 25th because it's tradition. as the washing of pots and cups, and many other such like things ye do. It's all traditions of men. They don't serve no spiritual purpose. The Most High is not going to recognize you for washing your hands and say, oh, that's a righteous brother. He washed his hands before he ate. He ain't going to recognize you for celebrating Christmas. And washing hands is far more righteous than celebrating Christmas. Let's continue. Verse 9. And he said unto them, and he continues, Christ ain't finished. For well ye reject the commandments of God. You are rejecting, you literally reject the commandments of God. You reject not to eat pork. You reject that. And you say, I'm going to pray over it. When God said literally in Leviticus 11, we're going to get into it, not to eat pork, but you reject that. Rebellion is the spirit of Christmas. And you wonder why your kids are throwing up a tantrum because you ain't giving them a PS5. He kicking his feet, stomping and moping all around because he ain't get the Christmas that he expected. If you ain't celebrated in the first place, he wouldn't be feeling that way. Let's continue. That ye may keep your own traditions. You say, forget what God's talking about. I got to do my own thing. I got to do what God said to do. I mean, what I got to do what my pastor says to do. I got to do what makes my children feel good. I got to do what makes me feel good because I want some gifts on the 25th. I can't stand being on social media as my friends just posting all the beautiful gifts they got and I'm over here with nothing. You're a child. You are literally a child. Let's continue. Verse 10. For Moses said, honor thy mother and thy father, and whoso curseth father or mother, let him die the death. You over here talking about celebrating Christmas. You over there at your mama's house, all up in her face, eating all her ham, pork, crab, shrimp, lobster. You know what I'm saying? Talking about you love your mama, you giving her all types of gifts, and that's not honoring her. She asked you for $20 to help pay her light bill last week, and you said, Mama, I ain't got it. She told you, leave those little boys alone, and you said, nope, Mama, I'm pregnant. Mama said, don't do drugs, and you got all types of blunts in your mouth, probably rolling up right now. You don't honor your mother or your father. But you want to look at the men of the ISUPK like we're doing something wrong because we don't celebrate Christmas? Damn your Christmas. Damn that. But we're going to drop that. Where we're going to go to next? We're going to go to, let's go to 1 Corinthians 12 and 2. Go to 1 Corinthians 12, verse 2. Got a second to get there as I get there. Okay. Y'all ready? 1 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 2. Ye know that ye were Gentiles. Once upon a time, black men, you were an American. You were Puerto Rican. You were Mexican. You were Jamaican. You were everything but what you're supposed to be, which is a tribe of Israel, which is a Judite, which is an Issacharite, Benjamite. You know what I'm saying? A Levite. Salakia. You were everything but what you were supposed to be. You forsake God's laws, and now you are everything. You are a black man. You are a ADOS. You are a Catholic. You know what I'm saying? You were these things. Well, let's continue. Carried away unto these idols. Santa is an idol. That Christmas tree is an idol. That white Jesus in your grandmama's kitchen, that is an idol. That has nothing to do with the Most High. Nothing. Nothing at all. Even as ye were led. Wherefore I give you to understand that no man speaking by the Spirit of God calleth Yahushua accursed, and that no man can say that Yahushua is the Lord, but by the Holy Ghost. That's a little bit too deep for this class. If y'all got a question on that, I'll get back with you. But this video is about Christmas. That kind of goes into it, but it's a little meaty. But put it like this. You are claiming that you are a man of God, but you are not celebrating and doing godly things. You are doing and following the traditions of men. So you're not a godly person at all. Not at all. Not one bit. You know what I'm saying? You are you're still a Gentile because you are following heathen traditions, heathen customs. Well, and y'all do it because y'all want to put Christian, Christ's name on it and think that is holy. But let me tell you something. Christ didn't celebrate his birthdays. Not at all. But let's talk about the things Christ did celebrate. Let's talk about the things he did celebrate. Let's go to John 10. Let me find it up in here. I don't think it's 1 John. It might be a 1 John. I'm not sure, but let's go to John 10 and 22. Let's talk about what Jesus did celebrate. Let's talk about what Christ, Yahushua, did celebrate. Let's get into it. John chapter 10, verse 22. This isn't a New Testament. John isn't a New Testament, all right? And it was at Jerusalem, the feast of the dedication, and it was winter. Do y'all know what the feast of dedication is? We just got finished celebrating it. Let me tell you how gangster Christ is. The feast of dedication is when they rededicated the temple to the Most High. Because heathens like the Romans that y'all love so much slaughtered a pig on our altar. So war happened. And the Most High was on our side, and we won that war. A lot of Romans a lot of Greeks were slaughtered. A lot of Greeks were dead. You know what I'm saying? And Greeks are just Roman daddies. Everything about Rome is copied after the Greeks, the Grecians. You know what I'm saying? But let's get into it a little further. And Yahushua, who y'all ignorantly call Jesus, walked in the temple of Solomon's porch. So he was there to celebrate. Everybody comes to the Feast of Dedication and they help redecorate the temple. They help make the temple look fly. And Christ came to do that. Christ celebrated the death of Greeks. That's what Christ did. Christ didn't celebrate the death of his own people. Christ did not celebrate the death of Native Americans. Christ celebrated the death of his enemies, the Greeks. But you didn't celebrate. I see you post about no happy feast of dedication, happy Hanukkah. I ain't see you do that. But Christ did. Christ was a gangster. He celebrated the feast of dedication. He celebrated his people's victories. What was the last victory of black peoples you celebrated? What, civil rights movement? It's not even a victory. Borderline of punishment. It's going to be a hard road, my people. It's going to be a hard road. But let's find another thing that he celebrated. Let's go to Matthew 26. Let me look for the scripture. I'm not quite sure where it is. I know it's in this chapter, though. There it is. There it is. Let's start with 15. Let me type that in here. Matthew chapter 26, verse 15. While y'all trying to celebrate Christ's birthday, which he did not celebrate, let me tell you what he did celebrate. I already showed you he celebrated the death of the Grecians in the Feast of Dedications. Let's see the other day he celebrated, which I'm pretty sure he celebrated a whole lot more because, you know what I'm saying, every Israelite holy day is, most of them literally a party. I think only one's not. That's the Feast of Atonement. Nobody wants to party when they're starving. I think that's the only one. But the party happens when it's time to break it. That's when the party happens. But let's get with it. Matthew chapter 26, verse 15. And said unto him, what will ye give me? And I will deliver him unto you. And they covenanted with him for the 30 pieces of silver. This is when Judas betrayed Christ, right? And he received the 30 shekels, right? And from that time, he sought opportunity to betray him. So at this time, Judas is looking for that right opportunity to call in the boys. Now, the first day of the feast of unleavened bread, the disciples came to Yahushua. What's the feast of unleavened bread, y'all? What's the feast of unleavened bread? It's literally right after Passover. So if you're celebrating the feast of unleavened bread, guess what else you're doing? You celebrated the Passover. And what is the celebration of the Passover about? Who knows? Who knows what the day of the Passover is about? We're gonna get into it. You don't gotta answer it right now. We're gonna get into it. Let's continue. Saying unto him, hold on, 11 bread, the disciples came to Yahushua, saying unto him, where wilt thou that we prepare for thee to eat the Passover? Where you want to set this up? Where you want to set this up? And he said, go into the city to such a man and say unto him, the master saith, my time is at hand. So Christ knew it was almost that time. That's why y'all got this so-called Easter. So close to the Passover, when Christ was actually killed on the Passover. But let's continue. I will keep the Passover at thy house. What that say? It said Christ will keep the Passover at his house. Christ kept the Passover. What is the Passover? What is the Passover about? What is the Passover about? Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. The Passover is about the slaughter of the Egyptians. When those plagues came down, and that plague where they had to put the blood on the door. They put the blood on the door. They was told to stay inside, put that blood on the post of the door. And the spirit of the angels of the Most High was coming through, slaughtering all the firstborns of Egypt. That's a celebration to Christ. The slaughter of all the firstborns of Egypt is a celebration to Christ. And you out here trying to celebrate a fake birthday of Christ, when Christ is celebrating the slaughter of his people's enemies. It's a beautiful thing of mine. I don't know about y'all. I think it's fly as hell. I think it's some of the dopest things on this planet, but let me finish it. With my disciples, so he celebrated it with his brothers. And the disciples did as Yahushua had appointed them, and they made ready the Passover. Because it's a must. There's a law about the Passover, man. You got to do it. And let me tell you something. The Passover is coming. It's coming April 15th. It's going to be in Cocoa Beach, Florida. I'm going to be there. I'm going to be there with my brothers, spirit in hand. You know what I'm saying? We're going to be getting it in, partying, hide your children. Because they ain't going to want to be a part of this ruckusness. We're going to be taking over the city of Cocoa Beach. They're going to be taken over. Just that simple. Let's continue. Now, let's dead that. Let's dead that. Let's dead that. Christ wanted to make sure, wow, before he died, he got the Passover in. Yeah, I mean, the man going to die on the Feast of Unleavened Bread. He knew the next day he was going to die. He knew I'm going to celebrate this Passover, and yeah. I'm about to die the next day, but we're going to get it in with my brothers till then. That's some gangster stuff. I don't know what could get more gangster than that. But you out here celebrating Christmas. It's for the children. It's for the children. And damn them kids, man. Those kids would survive without some Christmas. They will live. Well, you think they worried about some white kids coming around bragging about what they got? Because this black, Hispanics, and natives ain't supposed to be celebrating Christmas at all. So imagine that. Imagine if we didn't celebrate it as a people. This country would die. This country would die. And we won't worry about our oppressors' children coming to school bragging about what they got, because by that time, our kids won't be going to school with them. Our kids' segregation will take place in the Lord's kingdom. And it will be beautiful. It will be beautiful. Let's go to 1 Corinthians 8 and 4. Give y'all a second to get there. All right, 1 Corinthians chapter 8, verse 4. As concerning, therefore, the eating of those things that are offered in sacrifice unto idols. Listen. Let me bring it back. Let me bring it back just in case you ain't catch it. Just in case you did not catch it. Let me bring it back. As concerning, therefore, the eating of those things that are offered in sacrifice unto idols. What's offered into sacrifices unto idols? What is that? I mean, we proved that Christmas is a celebration unto a false idol, unto the god of Saturn, unto the god of Cronia. What do people cook on that day? If I remember correctly, one of the days when I was forced to celebrate it, ham, pork. Because if you remember, during the Feast of Dedication, why that war broke out, because somebody offered pig on our altar. So let's read that from the top again. As concerning, therefore, the eating of those things that are offered in sacrifice unto idols. So everything that you cook on Christmas is offered unto an idol, and you are eating it. Let's continue. We know that an idol is nothing in the world. We in the ISUPK, we know that it's nothing. We know it's not a big thing. You know what I'm saying? We're just hungry. We want to eat, but let's continue. And that there is none other God but one. There's no other God but one. We in the ISUPK understand that. We in the ISUPK understand that we got to eat. But we also understand that there's certain things that we're not supposed to eat, certain things that we can eat. We understand that what's offered unto our power and what's not offered unto our power. We understand that. But let's continue. Verse 5. For though there be that are called gods, whether in heaven or in earth, as there be gods many and lords many. All right, there's a lot of things that people call gods. There's gods everywhere. You know what I'm saying? You don't know what people are offering up to a god. You truly don't know. There be many so-called gods and many so-called powers out there, and you just got to eat. We understand that. You know what I'm saying? But let's continue. Verse 6. But to us there is but one God, the Father of whom are all things, and we in him, and the Lord Yahweh Shai Hamashiach, who y'all ignorantly call Jesus Christ, by whom are all things, and we by him. So we understand. Though y'all offer up that food, we understand that the Most High, he got our back. That's how y'all thinking. Y'all thinking, I don't celebrate what they're celebrating. I have no parts of that. But you are sitting there hungry. You are sitting there starving, body wasting away. And you see that Christmas ham, and you see those green beans, and what else they have? That cranberry, I don't know, whatever else, that macaroni and cheese. You see that mac and cheese up in the refrigerator that they had on Christmas. You see it, and you steady there hungry. You're just hungry. Christmas is over with. You know what I'm saying? You're coming up with a lot of excuses in your head. But let's continue. Verse 7. Howbeit there is not in every man that knowledge. Not every man knows that. Not every man knows that you are serving the Most High. They believe they are. They believe they're serving God. Not every man knows that eating pork, crab, shrimp, and lobster is wrong. But you do. Not every man understands that eating a Christmas dinner is eating a sacrifice unto other gods. But you do. So let's continue. For some with conscience of the idol, unto this hour eat it as a thing offered unto an idol, and their conscience being weak is defiled. So that brother might put like this. It's, I don't know, December 27th, right? That baked macaroni and cheese been in there for a couple of days. You come from a hard day at work, you're hungry. You see that mac and cheese in there, and you get a plate and you start eating it, right? It's no big deal in your eyes. You don't celebrate Christmas. You don't celebrate the pagan gods. You don't do none of that. You're just hungry. But your cousin, who has been hearing you teach all this, sees you eating that. Sees you eating that Christmas dinner. What you think is going through his mind? What do you think is going through his head? He sees you as a hypocrite. He sees you as a liar. He sees you as all that. And now he is defiled. Maybe he was considering, if you just had the strength not to eat that macaroni and cheese, he probably would have been in the truth right next to you. But he's seen it. Now he's weakened. He's going to go further into the Christian church because he think what he did and his God was right. They won that war. Him and his God won that war. You ate part of the Christian dinner. They won. Congratulations. Let's continue. But meat commendeth us not to God, for neither if we eat or we the better, neither if we not eat are we the worse. So technically, us being in the knowledge that God knows, you eating that Christmas dinner don't mean shit. Slocky for my language. It doesn't mean a thing. But it will destroy that next brother. Scripture says, refrain from the appearance of evil. Don't even try to look like the bad guy. Refrain from it. You see that? You see that mac and cheese that been in there for a couple of days, all the flavor and seasoning settled in real nice. Guess what you do? You go get that pack of noodles, that cup of noodles up there on the top of that cabinet. Open that up, boil some water, and you got yourself whatever you need to get you through. You know what I'm saying? You got whatever you need to get you through. But let's drop that. And the bottom line of it is, they seeing you do this, you are to blame for why other people continue to celebrate Christmas. If you eat that Christmas dinner, you are to blame why they keep on celebrating it. Because they are straight up and down believing that their God won that war. For example, your kids wouldn't know nothing about a Christmas dinner if you never cooked a Christmas dinner. What would they have known? They wouldn't know about no fat man coming down a chimney that they don't have because you in the projects struggling, might not make rent on the first. No, it ain't even a might. It's a guarantee. You probably ain't going to make rent till April, May, because you got to catch up now. But you're to blame. You're to blame. Let's go to 1 Corinthians 10 and 19. All right, let's start at let's start at 18. at 18. 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 18. Behold, hold on, man. Yeah, let's start at 18. Behold, Israel. Well, hold on. 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 18. Behold, Israel after the flesh. Are not they which eat of the sacrifices partakers of the altar? So aren't you partially to blame? Aren't you partially to blame? For those who celebrate Thanksgiving, aren't you partially to blame for those who were slaughtered for the celebration of Thanksgiving? Aren't you partially to blame for that? You celebrating Christmas, you are partially to blame of why your kids celebrate Christmas. You are partially to blame. If you're eating that Christmas dinner, you are partially to blame for why your family is celebrating a pagan holiday. You are to blame. Let me continue. What say I then? That the idols is anything, or that which is offered in sacrifice to idols is anything? Look, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. Your kids, you taught your kids to put some cookies and some milk. Put some cookies and milk out for Santa. Put some cookies and milk out for Santa. So they offering these cookies and milk out to this fat, disgusting, pedophile, trespasser that is breaking and entering into people's homes. Santa is a criminal. Santa is straight up and down a criminal. And you are telling your kids to offer cookies and milk to this idol of Santa, right? Let's continue. Verse 20, but I say, the things which the Gentiles sacrifice, the sacrifice to devils. Yes. Your kids are practicing Gentile customs. They're practicing heathenistic pagan customs by offering cookies and milk to that Santa. And you eating that cookie and milk, because Santa don't exist. But you eating those cookies and milk, you are promoting your kids to believe in a false idol. Your kids are going to wake up with all types of mental illnesses believing in the Santa, and believe that Santa actually came from some invisible chimney that don't exist in their apartment and ate that cookies and milk. So you offering it up to Santa, who is a Caucasian, who is the devil that the Bible speaks of, you're telling your kids to offer up something to devils, to make their sacrifice of their Oreos or their Chippehoys and their milk and offer that up. They could have ate that milk in the cereal in the morning. But you'd rather have your kids starve and Santa get fat. It's disgusting. And not to God. What have you told your kids to offer up to God? Nothing. Nothing. And I would not that ye should have fellowship with devils, man. We shouldn't have fellowship with devils. We should not be fellowshipping with devils, period. That's why we do the things we do. That's why we want to follow their custom, because we want to fellowship with them. We want to be a part of their world. They don't want to be a part of ours. No, they would take parts of ours and put it into their world. Just a little different from when they would take our money and put it into their world. But that's all integration was about anyway. Integration was about black money going into white businesses. That's all integration was about. Well, let's get one more. Let's get one more. Let's get First Kings. Let's get First King 22 and yes, it's 22 and 22. Should I start up higher? First Kings, chapter 22, verse 22. And the Most High said unto him, wherewith? And he said, I will go forth, and I will be a lying spirit in the mouth of all his prophets. Yes, the Most High is no joke. The Most High is in control of the good and in control of the evil. And one of the Most High's angels told Most High he will be a lying spirit into all of his prophets. What's a lying spirit? A lying spirit is telling you that Christmas is the birth of Jesus Christ. That's the lying spirit telling you that Christmas is the birth of Jesus Christ. It's a lying spirit telling you that it's okay to eat crab, pork, shrimp, and lobster. It's a lying spirit telling you that it's for the kids. It's a lying spirit telling you that it's tradition. It's a lying spirit telling you that all that. It's telling you all that. You know what it is. All those are lying spirits. Christ has nothing to do with Christmas. God has nothing to do with Christmas. It's just a lying spirit in your head because of your own lusts and desires, because you don't want your kids to feel left out. It's okay. Being left out is a good thing, because guess what? The Most High said, be ye holy. You know what that means? Being holy means to be left out. Being holy means not to be a part of things that has nothing to do with God. And Christmas is one of those things that have nothing to do with God. So be ye holy and separate. But Salakia, do I got time for one more? Nah, I'm going to end the class right there. All right, don't forget, Passover coming up. Hold on, let me get with it. We are the ISUPK, started out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Rule for new brothers and sisters. When a new brother or sister comes into school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There's another 6 months in which the brother or sister will court each other. And after that 6 months, they will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment. Maishor, which is 1/10 in Hebrew. Numbers 18 and 21, Malachi 3, 8 through 10. 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you, give to the Treasury Department or your teacher, because he will know where to put it. Priest funds, which is a free will offering for priests, not mandatory, whatsoever amount you would like. Upcoming Holy Convocation. Announce Holy Convocation from sheep. Oh, I read that. I actually read that. Wow. But the next Holy Convocation is the Feast of Purim. When we get more details on that, I would definitely pass it down. And with that, I'm going to end the class. Yahweh Ba'Hashem, Yahweh Shah Barakathah to all my brothers. Yahweh Shemar Latha Ba'Hashem, Yahweh Shah to all my sisters. Shalom.